Yo, what it do, everyone? What it do, everyone? Sorry for the little delay. I had a little technical issues with my camera. It wasn't turning on, but now it's resolved. I appreciate everyone for the patience and waiting. How is everyone's Sunday? My Sunday has been fantastic. I had a little hot tub session yesterday at the gym. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been feeling the best this weekend. Had to deal with a little mental health issues, so yeah, that's that. You always got to take care of your mental health first, guys. Also, Bitcoin just hit all times high, you know what I'm saying? And I'm out here eating this Bitcoin Belgium chocolate. Excuse it. Alright, so this thing is good. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into today's weekly overview. Alright, so each week, if you're new to the channel, each week we break down the bigger picture and dive into a few key stocks that we're looking at in trading, and we go into the fundamentals and technical analysis that align for our swing and long-term trades. I do not day trade. I've emphasized that before. Day trading is inherently too risky for me. I hold my positions for weeks to months and sometimes even years. I do not day trade. So after I get that disclaimer, I'm also a quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here is financial advice, which means that you should always do your own due diligence and research before making investment decisions. Everything in this presentation and live stream is for educational purposes only. Trading and investing involves risk and sometimes the loss of principal. You should always do your own research and consult a proper financial advisor. All right, now that we got a disclaimer out the way, let's take a look at the bigger picture. So what happened this week? So this week, the government had a shutdown. Okay, the U.S. government had a shutdown, and situations like this, I tend to increase uncertainty and volatility in the markets. And instead, we saw the opposite of what happened. The opposite of what happened this week. Instead of, I was expecting a slight pullback, which is why I decided to take out all most of my positions in Hood, Nvidia, AMD. All the big names. I pulled out of my Tesla. I pulled out of AMD, Nvidia, and I pulled out of Bitcoin a little bit as well to minimize my risk of the risk of uncertainty, because you never know what's gonna happen with a government shutdown. Because the last government shutdown was how long? Hold on, government. The last government shutdown was from December 2018 to January 2019. It was well over a week. And situations like these, I like to pull out my positions to avoid risk of uncertainty. All right, so instead we got a rally. We didn't get the pullback I was expecting, but that's okay, because it could have gone either way, and sometimes things just don't go your way. That's perfectly fine. So looks like after the government shutdown, instead of trading flat or having a slightly pullback, the markets actually rallied. The S&P rallied. Let's see, the QQQ rallied, and NASDAQ rallied as well. So we are seeing a slight retracement on Friday, and I do plan on adding back into my Nvidia and AMD shares if we see another little bit of a pullback on Monday. So that's what I've been doing. I've been pulling out my positions in the big names and making sure I secure my profits in those as well. All right, so right now the sentiment is this sentiment in the market is just so bullish that even a government shutdown is not enough to provoke fear in a pullback. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the stock picks I have for this week that I'm looking at for this week. Okay, I'm looking at for this week. So first of all, it's going to be Lockheed Martin. Guys, I posted a play on Lockheed Martin when it was around $497. So $497, I bought 2 call options on Lockheed Martin expiring in November, and I'm currently up around 1.5K on both options combined. So I bought it around, let me show you guys. I bought the call options around the $497 mark, and now it's been performing very, very well. Lockheed Martin's been holding up very well against the general market. If we look at the overall market, like S&P and QQQ, they had a retracement on Friday. But Lockheed Martin is holding up very, very well. It's holding up very well. I'm very proud of this play I made. I do plan on holding it a little bit longer into November. Okay, because if you look at the long-term trend, it's been at a positive bullish trend ever since that sell-off they had back in July. Every single, besides these couple red days, every single day has been drastically green. It's been trading above the EMA clouds. It has a clear bullish directional trend. Okay, and I've said before, you never want to trade against a trend. You never want to trade against a trend because that's how you get steamrolled, and you don't want to bet against this trend, especially something that's as clear as this, because the chances and odds are going to be stacked against you. Okay. All right. So what news did Lockheed Martin have in the recent couple days? So first of all, they got awarded a $137.2 million contract with the U.S. Navy. I'm going to show you right here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up for you. Okay, so Lockheed Martin awarded $137.2 million in U.S. Navy contract. Lockheed Martin has been awarded $137.2 million modification to a previously awarded U.S. Navy contract. This modification adds scope to provide diminishing manufacturing sources and engineering change proposal implementation and integration to supporting the configurations for the F-35 production aircraft, Lot 17 for the Air Force, Marine, and Navy F-35 cooperative programs and foreign military sales customers. So besides that, they also let me take a look. Give me 1 second. They also got awarded $233 million firm fixed price contract on September 30, which was last Tuesday. I show you the charts. This was what caused the Lockheed Martin to go up in the first 30 minutes. And I'm glad I got into it when it was in the 480 range, and I did sell a little bit when it reaches 502, and I waited until it retraced back to the 497, and I picked up another 2 contracts. Okay, so I'm very bullish on Lockheed Martin right now, and let's see, I do have another news for them. Okay, $233 million contract. Let's see. What else do we have here? I'm going to show you guys the newsletter I was reading. Okay. Awarded $233 million U.S. Navy contract. Lockheed Martin Missile and Fire Control. is awarded $233 million firm fixed price contract to procure 59 infrared receivers and include 51 for the Navy and 8 for the Air National Guard. I feel like as long as Trump is in office, defense contractors and defense spending is going to continue to increase because the government loves war. The government loves war, okay? And that back in July when it had a huge drawdown, that was a perfect buying opportunity. I did not pay attention to this stock. I wish I had paid attention to it back in July, but it is what it is. We're in the train now, so we're in the train now, so we're gonna keep riding on it. All right. So let's see. The next stock we're going to be talking about is SoFi. Now, SoFi had a little bit of a pullback on Friday and Thursday. I'll show you guys real quick. I did lose around $400 on my margin account for SoFi because of the pullback. I was not expecting a huge pullback like this, but this is the time where I'll be adding more positions into SoFi, because before it had a huge rally, I did get into SoFi around $25.50. So I got into around this area right here and had a huge rally, and I sold around $28 at a cover call option around $28, and it went up to 31, and now it's retraced back to $25.24 on a close. I did add around 1,000 shares of SoFi around 25.2. I think this is a pretty good position to hold. SoFi is a pretty long-term play for me. I do plan on holding it for the long run. So we're talking about the next 6 months and maybe even years. Let's look now. But the technicals do show that it's still in a bearish trend right now. So Monday we could technically see even a bigger retracement, and if that does happen, I do plan on hitting my stop loss around here. Wait till it even drops even more, or I might do like a trailing stop, which means it's just gonna track the downtrend price, and then I'll hop back in when it reaches the bottom and show signs of a retracement. But SoFi I feel like the risk and reward for SoFi is really nice, because a $25 to $30 move. Hold on, let me do the math here. $25 to $30 move. What is that? What's 25 minus. That's like is that a 17% gain? Hold on, 25. That's like a 17% gain. For 25 to 30 to $30 move, that's a 17% gain. So weigh the risks and rewards. This is a pretty good buying opportunity for me. I do plan on adding more shares into SoFi. Okay, let's take a look at the fundamentals for SoFi a little bit. Let me pull up my Investing Pro charts for SoFi. I did say after the rate cut that SoFi and Hood are going to be the two stocks that could see a lot of growth, and they did hit their all-time highs after their the rate cuts, because with the rate cuts, people are going to be looking at more mortgages and borrowing, and SoFi is one of the up-and-coming digital fintech companies. Okay, all right, so let me take a look at the fundamentals real quick. I have to pull up. I did buy the subscription for Investing Pro last week. It's this one. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Can you guys see this? All right, perfect. Let me make this bigger. So I see this okay. All right, cool. Okay, so if we look at the revenue, quarterly revenue, SoFi has been seeing a very, very bullish and very steady growth of their revenue. They have a very steady growth, which indicates it has a healthy growth pattern right now, and that correlates with its price. You look at its price from March all the way till now. It has a very healthy uptrend. And looking at the earnings per share, it's also been, well, before that it was high. It was a lot overvalued with the earnings per share, but now now everything's getting closer and closer to each other. All right, so let's look at what the analysts are saying right here. If you guys want to get this subscription, it's $200 for a year, and I'll link it in the description below for you guys to get. If you guys want to use my affiliate link, it is an affiliate link, so you do get a discount, 15%. So a lot we have. Let's see. A lot of price targets are towards the mid 20s to $30. So personally, I'll be holding this stock. I do see it as a long-term growth potential. All right, so now to SoFi. Let's take a look at our next stock. Hold on. Let's see. What are we looking at? All right, Tesla. Now, I did not get into the Tesla pullback. I was planning on buying some puts after it hit its all-time highs, but I guess I just got scared and I didn't do it. So, hey, sometimes that's okay. So look at Tesla. So hold on, let me pull up my charts real quick. So I had a couple call options around back when it was at $234. I rode it but to $240 and I sold them. And it went all the way up and tested its all-time highs at $480. And right after it tested an all-time high, it closed the gap. It had a huge pullback, 2 red days, all the way back to $216. That was an insane pullback because let me show you guys the contracts. I bought a put around the $447 and I only sold for a tiny profit. But let's look at the put options for tests for they're expiring next week. The in the money put option. This in the money. Let's take a look. Hold on. Oh, these are calls. Okay, so from the put options expiring next week for $430, that's a slight in the money or at the money put options. Went from if you had bought it at the top, which was market open on Thursday when it tested the 480, it was at around like, hold on, let's see, what was it? Thursday. Thursday was the 2nd, so let's see, 10:30. It was at around like $4, and now it hit the highest it went to was $20. That's a 10x. That's a 10x. Hold on. Let me put on the day chart. So from $2 all the way to $20. That's a 10x. That's actually a 10x right here. Let's take 4 hours. Can't give me 4 hours. But yeah, this right here was a 10x play, and I did not take it. It is what it is. I guess sometimes I just be getting scared for these for these opportunities, and that's something I still need to work on, is to find more confidence when seeing these opportunities. But yeah, so Tesla's next earning report is on October 22nd, and the market is like laser focused on their margins, deliveries, and their energy revenue. But despite that, let's take a look at their fundamentals analysis. Okay, let's take a look at the fundamentals. Hold on, let me pull up the Tesla charts. That's SoFi Technology. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me pull up the one for Tesla. All right, so let's look at the fundamentals. This is something that that's why I've been very cautious towards Tesla, because I've said this before. Tesla is pretty much a meme stock, because the company could literally go bankrupt and the stock will still be trading bullish. If you can see this in the quarterly revenue is decreasing. Okay, it's literally decreasing every single quarter, and yet the stock price is trending up. That should tell you something. Okay, let's take a look at the hold on. And one other thing that happened with Tesla last week is that their $7.5 thousand EV credit just got taken away, and I think that's gonna play a significant role in the future Tesla sale. We're gonna see a lot of declines in Tesla sales, and I think that's gonna have a huge impact on the profit, the net profits for Tesla, and I think that's something that's gonna be factored into the next quarterly earnings. All right, so let's take a look at the charts right here. Revenue. But yeah, if you guys wanted to get access to this, it's 15% off. Use my affiliate link. So let's see. But also, Elon is also having his pay package approved for next shareholder meeting. And I did register to attend that in person, but let's see if they actually approve it or not. I think it's going to be a very competitive process. But hey, you never know what's going to happen. So what am I planning on doing with Tesla? I think I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to stay out of it for now. Because I would be very cautious at these levels, especially after testing its like all-time highs. And we see the fundamentals is not there. The fundamental is clearly not there. Okay. So let's take a look at looking at the Ripster clouds. It's clearly showing a clear bearish trend. As long as it's trading below the 3450 EMA clouds, it is a clear bearish trend. So with that being said, I do plan on staying out of Tesla for now. Okay, so let's look at our next stock. UNH. Guys, UNH, I've been adding my dollar cost averaging into UNH for a while. Ever since they had that huge sell-off, I've been dollar cost averaging into UNH. And recently, last Friday, it just tested its it tested its new highs ever since the sell-off that happened back in May. We did see it test its new new highs ever since that sell-off, and now it's trading at around 360. I do plan on adding a lot more shares into the UNH. Okay, so UNH is going to be a long-term buy and hold for me. I do see me holding it for the next 2 years. 2 years, and they have their earnings report coming out later this month as well. So I think that's something I'm looking very forward to. Last earnings report went pretty disastrous, and when it tanked the stock from $300 all the way to $233. And after Warren Buffett revealed his portfolio of UNH, that increased a lot of investor confidence and went all the way back up to 300. And now we're seeing a bullish trend. Looks like it could be riding back into the 400s. So with that being said, I do plan on adding more into UNH this week. Okay, that's pretty much it for the stocks I want to go over this week. Let me see if there's anything else you guys want me to look over. Let me take a chat, look at the chat real quick. I haven't pulled up the chat. Okay. But yeah, UNH is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and this is about like any meme stocks like Open, Oklo, or even Tesla. UNH is a solid company that has great fundamentals. So with that being said, I'll be buying more into UNH. Now, the overall market is still very bullish, and the bull case remains pretty dominant because every pullback has been bought back. Every single dip has been bought back immediately. And with a sentiment like this, I do want to be cautiously optimistic because markets are at all-time highs right now. And if we see a pullback, it could be pretty big. Okay, and I do want to prepare for that. You don't want to be over leveraged in situations like these. So I would be cautiously optimistic, and weighing your risk and having stop losses. That is so important because I learned that the hard way. Not having stop losses, I lost $5,000 in one day because I didn't have a stop loss because I was overly confident in myself. Okay, all right. So to wrap things up, what happened this week? I added 2 contracts on Lockheed Martin, and SoFi had a pretty big pullback from $30, all-time highs 30 all the way to 25. I do plan on adding more into SoFi shares. Now Tesla it tested its all-time highs of $480. Right after it tested its all-time high, it had a huge pullback all the way from 480 to 420. Oh my goodness. Oh my, that's a 10x, bro. That's a 10x return if you bought puts. If you didn't see the all-time high testing of $48, that's fine. But the puts, that I actually saw that coming because it's just the RSI even shows that it's overbought. Let me show you guys real quick. The 30 hold on, let me show you hourly. Look at this hourly RSI, insane. And the MACD crossover right here, that was a perfect opportunity for me to buy, and I guess I just didn't execute on that opportunity. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but you know what, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's something I still need to work on, is my confidence. And UNH, I do plan on adding more shares. Okay, so despite the government shutdown that happened, markets still remain bullish, and I think the market is going to continue to rally, but I will be cautiously optimistic. And if a huge pullback does happen, I will have cash on hand, to take advantage of that opportunity. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to this week's live streams. If you want to get access to the Investing Pro subscription, I'll have it in the link in the description below. And I hope everyone had a great weekend. Let me know what you guys want me to go over in the next week's overview, and let me know if you guys have any stocks I want to look at, man. Like, I've been trying to get you guys to give me some stocks to look at. But yeah, all right, cool. I hope everyone have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And remember to always stay safe out there. Peace.